Good afternoon, Malte Landwehr, welcome. Good to have you over here. Tomorrow you are speaking at BrightonSEO April 2026. And we are very happy to have you here in our podcast.
Happy to be here.
So, the talk, what is it about?
It's about ChatGPT and how shopping in ChatGPT works. Specifically these shopping sliders or like product carousels, product tables, how ChatGPT selects the products, where it finds them, and what you can do to potentially increase your visibility there.
Okay.
Nice.
And before we dive a little bit more deeper into that, can you maybe introduce yourself for our listeners?
Sure. I'm Malte. I'm currently Chief Product, Chief Marketing Officer at PKI. It's a software to track your visibility in AI-based search engines. I spent the last 25 years working in the SEO space, usually with some combination of product marketing, and spent the last 5 years at Idealo running a very large SEO team there. Was a member of the executive team, and before that spent 5 years building SEO software at Searchmetrics.
Wow.
Searchmetrics, I used it in the past.
Yeah,
it was a really good tool.
Yeah. Indeed. Hey, and what do you think about all the stuff what is going on right now within the SEO world?
What stuff specifically?
Yeah,
there's so much going on.
I'm really curious what you think when you hear this question.
No, I mean there's of course like a general shift happening right now where things are not as easy anymore as they used to be. Some of our KPIs are no longer working. Traffic is going down, where SEO was usually a channel that could always say, hey, I have the best ROI if we look at price per click, right? But now these clicks are no longer happening in some cases because of AI overviews, because of ChatGPT, and the decisions are still being influenced by the work that people are doing, whether we call them SEOs or AEOs or GEOs, but it's much harder to measure. And I think that makes it more difficult for SEO teams to know are they moving in the right direction, but also to prove their value towards the CMO, CFO, CEO. So a lot of things are changing there. Then we have a very unnecessary debate what to call it, whether it's AEO, GEO. Today I also heard GSO, Generative Search Optimization. We kind of buried the term LLMO, luckily, that was the worst one. But the whole debate is so unnecessary.
It is.
But a lot of people focus the energy on it.
Yeah.
And I also see a trend where now management teams suddenly have a very, very big interest in GEO, who never cared about SEO.
Yeah.
And I regularly speak to head of SEOs who in the past had to wait for weeks to talk to like the CEO, the CFO, and it happened like twice a year, and now they are expected to have a monthly meeting where they need to explain what's happening in AI search and have to proactively answer questions that are coming all the time. And I think that's a big change that's happening in many companies right now.
Positive change for SEOs, right? Because you're taken more seriously in the boardroom.
Yeah, that was actually what I was wondering. Do you think that it is a negative or a positive kind of thing?
It depends. So there are people who embrace it and they use the executive presence to get more resources, larger teams, more influence. Because if you look at AI search, the head of SEO cannot really win that alone, right? You need help from your influencer management team, from your social team, from community management, from brand marketing. Even what your customer support team is writing in your help center has huge impact on what LLMs say about your brand. So you can embrace that and then get more scope, more budget, more responsibility. But of course, there are also people who don't want that, because up until like 2 years ago, you could be a very, very good head of SEO without ever thinking about budgets, campaigns, or justifying things. Because at the end of the day, the CFO looked at the numbers. They were like, okay, this team costs me, I don't know, $500,000 per year. We make 10 million per year with SEO. I don't care about the details.
Yeah.
And then if you are a head of any other marketing channel, be it paid social, PPC, you always had to prove yourself, right? You always had to prove the ROI. If there was an issue with tracking and suddenly 10% of your clicks disappeared, you were in panic mode. You had to investigate what's happening. How do I fix this? As a head of SEO, if I have on paper 99% ROI, I don't care if 10% of my clicks are gone. But now with AI search, this is totally different. Suddenly you have to think about attribution. You have to think about what actually is our cookie consent rate and how do I then model my overall impact. How are we attributing clicks? Is it by HTTP referrer or with UTM codes? What happens with a user who comes 3 times in 5 minutes from different channels? Again, as an SEO, I didn't really care if 5% of my traffic is attributed to paid search.
Yeah.
But now, with fewer and fewer clicks, more management attention, suddenly you have to learn all of these things. And I think it's an opportunity for people who want to embrace that, want to grow in that direction. But somebody who was like basically the SEO nerd and then was a little bit pushed into this, hey, don't you want to become a team lead, head of SEO, director? I think many of them are not having the greatest time right now because they can't do their thing anymore the way they used to do it.
Yeah, I can imagine. But still, we also hear from SEO managers that they kind of see it as a positive kind of thing, that there is way more attention now for it. That at least the conversation is way more there in the boardroom itself, you know?
Yeah, it's a branding conversation.
Yeah,
not an
exactly.
Only SEO conversation.
But that is super interesting, also what you now share. And hey, tomorrow, of course, you are going to talk here. What do you want to tell the people?
I think the biggest takeaway is that people always talk about having these custom integrations with ChatGPT to send them your product feed, and they are building this big knowledge graph of products. But to a degree that is true for Shopify, Etsy, Walmart, Dell, and a few big other shops in the US.
Yeah, the pilots, yeah.
But something like 99% of products that end up in this product carousel, they are based on scraping. And ChatGPT is scraping Google Shopping.
Yeah.
So we did research together with Tom Wells, an independent researcher in the space, and we identified that there are not just fan-out queries, there are also shopping fan-out queries, and you can find them in the streaming data that is happening between the ChatGPT server and your browser, and they take these and they put them into Google Shopping.
I think I saw your research, really nice.
Yeah, of course that changes many things, right? Because it means if you get online in Google Shopping with this free feed in Google Merchant Center, you can 1 day later be in ChatGPT. And there's one online shop where I did this. I added them to Google Merchant Center. They were not there before. The next day they were in Google Shopping. And if you look at the prices, the reviews, the availability, it's very, very clear that the data source is just scraped Google Shopping.
Yeah.
And it's organic shopping, right? It's not paid shopping.
Yes,
so
it's
that makes the clue really important, I guess. Because shopping always is a paid discussion. 90% of the Google SERP is paid. But when it comes to AI shopping, it isn't.
Yeah, and organic shopping in Google usually had rather low traffic levels until very recently. And there's a ton of knowledge how to optimize for that. And I think many people have been ignoring it, but now optimizing Google Shopping will immediately lead to also more clicks from ChatGPT. The problem is, since it's scraped data, also the URL parameters are taken.
Okay.
So if you do your attribution based on UTM parameters, you will see a UTM parameter like Google Shopping non-paid. But the click is actually coming from ChatGPT.
Okay.
And that's of course a huge challenge, because there are potentially many companies that now misattribute their free traffic, free organic shopping traffic, and lump whatever ChatGPT is sending them in with Google.
Yeah. So how do you work with that right now? Or do you have an advice how to work with that?
I mean, I would measure it, first of all. I would make sure that, the first thing is actually have a UTM parameter, because some people don't even have the UTM parameter for organic shopping in Google, which is already horrible. And then have a rule that when the HTTP referrer is not google.com, but there's...
Conference venue for session 3 will be starting in 10 minutes.
Okay.
What was the last thing I said?
The parameters.
Yeah, parameters.
UTM.
So the first thing to do is have a UTM tracking parameter in your Google Merchant Center. Some people don't even have that, and then they are already blind on that side. But then you now need a logic. If the HTTP referrer says google.com, and I have the shopping parameter, it's Google Shopping Organic. But if the HTTP referrer says chatgpt.com, or is empty, and in the URL I see the UTM parameter for Google Shopping, it's likely coming from ChatGPT Shopping now. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
And then, of course, you can optimize for it. So one thing is, get a software that shows you the shopping fan-out queries, not just the normal fan-out queries.
Yeah.
Because sometimes ChatGPT introduces new words in the fan-out query that were not part of the original search.
Okay.
So that is probably a word you want to have on your product details page and in your product feed.
Yeah.
And in the product feed, you can actually add a lot of content with these Q&A sections, for example.
Yeah, those new attributes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or in the feed it's then
in the feed
structured
itself.
data.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you should do is if you have this product table where ChatGPT is giving like star ratings to the products, you have some attributes like durability, comfort. You should absolutely take these terms and also write about them on your product details page and also put that in the feed. And it should be like how you would always do it for ChatGPT. It should be a short statement, maybe like 50 words.
Okay.
It should be declarative, so not like some unclearness, but like a very declarative, authoritative statement. It should be self-contained, that it makes sense in itself. And if you see that durability is one of the attributes that ChatGPT is using to rate all these products, you should write, I don't know, this sneaker has great durability as proven by, I don't know, reviews from Business Insider and Forbes or whatever. And that is very likely to then influence the grounding process, because while this is scraped Google Shopping data, it's not ranking, it's not taking it one-to-one. There's a lot of re-ranking happening. There is a correlation with your ranking, but it's not exactly the same. So very, very likely, ChatGPT is also using the data it gets from the normal fan-out queries and from the context it pulls from the feed, from your product pages, to realign everything a little bit. So just try to write positively with proof about the things where ChatGPT is scoring products, and also include the terms that ChatGPT introduces via the fan-out queries. This is actually the two things I would do additionally to everything you would hopefully already do for Google Shopping.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But will there be a time that we can upload the feed into ChatGPT? Because we already filled in the form. Everyone did, I guess.
In my previous job, I also filled in that form, and I never heard back.
No.
I mean, I worked in the price comparison space for 5 years, so I know how challenging it is to actually aggregate all of these feeds and deduplicate them. And then it gets really bad with online shops that are lying. Like they just say this is a Dyson and this is the like the ASIN etc. IDs from Dyson, but it's not a Dyson. It's like some cheap knockoff brand. And this is happening a lot on eBay, for example. It's not eBay doing it; it's eBay merchants doing it. But then you need to build now a reputation system to rank eBay merchants. I mean, it's what we did in my previous job. But now multiply this times 1,000 marketplaces, because maybe on Kaufland in Germany or maybe on Walmart in the US, maybe there's also one merchant who's intentionally lying or just has an issue. And then do you attribute all of the reputation of Walmart or eBay to these merchants? And then you have also new shops coming up. You have also old shops being sold and then suddenly turning into like fake shops, scam shops. You have cases where D2C brands have really zero control over their data and just tell you absolute, like it's crap basically what they put in their feed, because they have no way to handle their data. They just click something together and hope it works. And you have to deal with all of these things. Or there are categories like bicycles, where some online shops talk about the size of a bicycle by the inch of the frame, and others look at the inch of the wheel. And in theory, you can modify both. So you have to build a custom solution for bicycles to match the online shop that talks about the frame size to the online shop that talks about the wheel size, because both are the same product. And if you really want to consume product feeds, you need to take all of this. And then there are more edge cases like iPhones. iPhone doesn't
All
actually...
delegates, please make their way to their chosen conference venue, and session 3 will be starting imminently.
Like
iPhones.
Like for you and me, the iPhone 16 is a product, right? But actually that's not true. This doesn't exist. There is iPhone 16 in blue, 256 gigabyte, black with a terabyte, etc., etc. So you have to build a system that maps variants to like a product that actually doesn't exist, because it's just like an umbrella term. And for the iPhone, probably it's very important, the different variants. But there are other products where the variants don't matter because they are all the same. You have contact lenses where every single contact lens has 300 variants because of the different thickness and how it's bent, etc., etc. And all of this you have to build. And yes, it's now easier with AI to build, but it's still a major effort.
Yeah.
And my feeling is OpenAI thought this would be very easy, so they started it.
Yeah.
And now they realize this is actually really hard.
You have to create some kind of index then. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to build like a shopping graph, like Google
exactly.
built it. But
Yeah.
Google did it over years.
Yeah.
Over years. And still, Google's is not perfect.
No.
So I have the feeling they had this on the agenda, but deprioritized it a lot.
It's
Yeah.
more efficient to just scrape shopping.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good for us.
Definitely.
Yeah, otherwise we had XML feeds uploading into, or product feeds uploading into ChatGPT. It's also an opportunity, but yeah.
Hey, and if we simplify your whole story, because you're already explaining it really well, of course, but there are people who don't do this yet within ChatGPT. What is your advice how to start on this in a simple kind of way?
Specifically for shopping?
Yeah.
Go to Google Merchant Center, connect your feed,
Yeah.
deal with any error messages, click this checkbox that you want the free organic traffic.
Yeah,
Realistic.
yeah.
That is the basis. Once you have done that, you might already appear in ChatGPT. You should probably test this, like search for very specific things in
Yeah.
ChatGPT where you would assume to show up. And then the next thing you can do is, if you, let's say you sell running shoes, if you see a carousel or like a table is it at the moment of when you prompt for running shoes and there it says durability and I don't know what kind of, is it suitable for running on concrete?
Yeah.
Use these terms of inspiration for what to write on your product pages and make sure whatever is written on your product pages is also in your feed. Ideally, your feed just takes the content from your product page and you don't copy and paste all the time. But yeah, that's the first optimization step.
Yeah.
And then I would look for a tool that also shows you the shopping fan-out queries because there you can pull even more information out
And
of it.
data feed management tools like Channable between the feed and merchant center to
Depends on your needs.
Yeah.
If you are
see.
on,
Saw a lot of sloppy feeds in the past. So
yeah, if you are on Shopify or something
Yeah.
and you trust them to handle the feed well,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need a feed management
Okay.
tool. If you have multiple legacy systems, like you have an online shop and you have an ERP that you need for the availability data, and then you have another tool that you use for translations, then feed management can make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Also, if you have multiple outputs, so if you don't just want to go to Merchant Center, but you also want to go to Facebook, to many other sources, maybe you're also a marketplace handler on Amazon and want everything synced, at that point, yes, I would go into a direction of a channel management tool.
Amazing. This is
good
yeah,
stuff.
I think good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we have a ton more questions for you, but unfortunately we are already at the end of this episode. But we have one very last question for you that we actually ask everybody on this podcast.
Yeah.
And that is Martijn.
You work in SEO for quite a while. So what is your biggest SEO fuck up in the past?
My biggest SEO fuck up. I spent thousands of euros registering keyword domains that I then never used. Specifically, I once had the idea that many German cities are still available as an .org domain,
Yeah.
and I registered a ton of them. And then the letters from the lawyers employed by these cities came in, and I understood why they were free.
No way.
And also, I never had I never had the time to monetize them, etc., etc. So I think that was my biggest fuck up, just registering domains that I didn't actually use. Yeah.
Nice.
Clear.
Nice. Okay.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot for your time, Malte. Really looking forward to your talk tomorrow.
Thanks for having me
Exactly.
here.
Good luck.
Thank you.